All right. Let's go, Tasha. All right. So welcome to another edition of the Midday Inspiration. And I'm Tony Fleming with my guest today, Miss Tuesday Fredericks. And we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about inspiring people to do affirmations and inspiring people to do more vision boards, vision walls. And we're going to talk a little bit about why. So we do these every Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon. Today, 12:30 because of a conflicting scheduling. So we did today 12:30, but normally we will be here every Wednesday at 12 noon, giving you a little midday inspiration. And so I'm gonna start off right now and jump right into it. I actually have written down 3 things. And first of all, Miss Fredericks, how are you doing today?
I'm amazing. Thank you. How about yourself?
That's good. Super amazing.
It doesn't matter how I feel. I'm always going to say that I'm amazing.
You're right. That's how you say it.
Right.
That's
yes.
Affirmations, right? So tell us a little bit about what you do first before we get started. I know you have your own business, and what kind of business you have?
So by profession, I'm a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for more than 25 years. I have worked in a setting called FQHC, which is a federally qualified health center. And what it is when the federal government makes grant funds available, these organizations will apply for those funds to make health and pharmaceutical care affordable for the uninsured and underinsured populations. You can have insurance and go there still. But my heart and the way that the Lord has gifted me is to be able to go in all over the country and open low-cost pharmacies in these community clinics. And so I've had the privilege to work in 4 specific states: Pennsylvania, Mississippi, Florida, and Georgia. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Right. And you said that you've been doing that how long?
Well, I've been doing that for the last 5 years in the capacity of a self-employed or business owner, but I've been a pharmacist for more than 25 years.
Wow. So you started at 5 years old or something like that?
Yeah. So I'm Benjamin Button. So I guess I put that behind my name as well.
All right.
As I get older, I look younger.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump right into it. I have written down 3 things that I'm gonna talk about, and I'm gonna read them right quick. I got them in my little notebook here, and so I'm gonna read them, and then in each one of these statements, there's there are operative phrases or operative word that I kind of want to talk about for people to see more about or understanding more about vision and affirmations. So to affirm is to state that it is so and hold on to it regardless of all evidence to the contrary. You receive an answer to your prayers. So I'm gonna say that again. To affirm is to state that it is so and hold on to it regardless of all evidence to the contrary. You're receiving answers to your prayers. Now, when I look at that statement, I think of regardless of all evidence to the contrary. So when we think about that, you hear people say, well, my environment is really bad. I can't really become inspired in my environment because it's, my household is awful. Everything is going on in my household. My neighborhood is bad. And so to get me to get excited about something is really difficult for me. Look around me. Look at this. Now, the operative phrase in that statement is regardless of all evidence to the contrary. So if you start speaking and affirming that you are successful, that you are wealthy, that good things happen to you, and all these things that you would. I got another book full of nothing but affirmations, and you start affirming those things. And the first thing you do is start looking around your situation, or even before that, as you start affirming it, then your belief is not going to be there to continue, because you're looking at the evidence around you. Now, this statement says, regardless of all evidence to the contrary, regardless of what your house looks like, regardless of what your environment looks like, regardless, because anybody who's come up out of a bad situation, projects, parents not there or whatever, and they became successful, they had to see it before it happened, and they had to see it outside of their environment. And so when I read that statement there, I understand that it can happen for any of us if we understand that it's regardless of the evidence around us. We have to keep speaking these certain affirmations. What's your thoughts on that, Ms. Fredericks?
Well, the first thing I'll say is exposure is everything, right? Mm-hmm. So back in the day, we depended on, or we counted on watching shows like the Cosby shows, because it showed us as African Americans in a different light. And so when we began to see ourselves differently, we began to think in a way that, wow, I can become, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing that I want to say is, we don't see with our eyes, our pupils. We actually see with our heart. And if you think about what people that have made it, have come out of those bad situations, they always say something to the effect of, it's always been in my heart to become or to do certain things. Mm-hmm. Once it's in your heart, you then begin to take those action steps towards accomplishing. So again, what we see, it doesn't matter how poor or bad your environment is. If you then begin to embed something in your heart, and sometimes it takes exposure for people to have a creative idea or to want something differently. Because mm-hmm. of course, if all you see is what's around you, that's all that you know. But as mm-hmm. soon as you're exposed to something differently, you actually begin to desire, and you begin to move in a direction for that difference to become yours.
Right. And a lot of people say, well, there's no Cosby shows anymore and all this kind of, so I don't have the exposure. That's not true. You can go to YouTube and put in anything you want. You can travel around the world on YouTube. You can put in beautiful cities. You can put in beautiful whatever, beautiful homes you can put in, and you can see the exposure right there. You can be exposed to it 24/7, 365 days now. So before the internet, you might can use that excuse. You might can, but even when it wasn't an excuse then, because I believe you could be exposed to it through books. I've always been saying that. You can grab a book and read on successful people and get the exposure right there. So you can't use that one. And a lot of people try to use that. And what we're saying today on this Midday Inspiration, that you should be inspired to go find certain things that will give you that exposure. I mean, it's out here. It's out here everywhere.
So you mentioned the books, right? Mm-hmm. And the beauty of a book is it creates that creative world, that imagination. And when we talk about imagination, I can't help but say this might sound like a cliche or whatever, but they say the greatest nation is what? Imagination, mm-hmm. right? If you can begin to imagine a thing, even if it doesn't exist, that's where you can become this thing, or you create mm-hmm. this thing, and that's your access to the outside. That's your way out, if you will.
Right. Imagination is bigger than facts, because if you can imagine something, we'll always say the bigger the dream, the facts don't count, or something like that. So yeah, I mean, but I remember, how you used to start dreaming of something, and you daydreaming in school. Snap out of it. Yeah. Don't be sitting up in here. Don't be sitting up in here doing that. Snap out of it. But the other day I was looking at, not to say that I want one, but I typed in, beautiful yachts, just to see how they look and just to see what was going on with them and see how certain people are living. That might anger some people, but to me, I'm looking at it like, wow, this is like I saw the other day, Michael Jordan, $120 million yacht that he was on, you know what I'm saying? And he, I don't know if he got one or two of those, but he was actually in my favorite part of the world. He was in Monte Carlo. And I think he hangs out there a lot, because, I hang out there a lot too on YouTube, but
you can go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube and TikTok, you can do it.
You can go anywhere, anything you want.
Anything. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You go anywhere you want. Fortunately, I've been there, and I was there for a week, but I hadn't been back in 15 years, but I still love that place. And so I'm always going to seeing what's happening in Monaco or Monte Carlo. So you can pick wherever you want to go and wherever you want to be in life. You could be 10 years old right now thinking, well, what do I want to do? Put it in YouTube and it'll come up. It'll give you the visualization. It'll give you all of that. All right. So let me look at this other statement that I've written down here. It says, and all these are so close to the same thing, but it says a mental picture is worth 1,000 words. A mental picture is worth 1,000 words. A picture held in the mind, backed by faith, will come to fruition. A picture held in the mind, backed by faith, will come to fruition. Now, my operative word here in this statement is well, 3 words: backed by faith. Backed by faith. Now, when you think about it, what is faith? In your opinion, Ms. Frederick, what would you consider faith? What a street version of it, not the just the biblical version. But I mean, you can give me that too. But I'm just saying the common man's version of faith.
Making it happen in a very short phrase would just be making it happen. That's having a belief system to know that you can make something happen, or it can happen to you, or it can come about as a result of you. Faith is also putting feet to an idea. Again, it's making it happen.
Right. And you say make it happen. That's I was just listening to it. I actually posted, I think, on my page 2 days ago. One of my favorite Mariah Carey songs. You said you got to make it happen. And I don't know if you remember that song. That song was like 10, 15 years old, but it's still one of my favorite songs by Mariah Carey. And she talks about how when you down and out, you got to make it happen. You have to make it happen. So that picture held is worth 1,000 words. We were talking about this the other day with the book that a picture in your mind is like a hologram. I mean, once you get it there, once you focus on it enough, once you put enough attention on it, I like how Reverend Ike says, anything that you're fascinated with, has to come from fruition. That fascination is going to come out somewhere. So if you fascinated with something, that means that you're going to keep entertaining it. You're going to keep looking at it. You're going to keep speaking about it. And so that fascination, you say, how he says the fascination is going to come, and the fascination, you will get the fascination, and the fascination will get you. And so if you take something, that mental picture, whatever it is, car, house, money, whatever it is, and you fascinate on it, look at it, watch it, talk about it. It has to, and you don't have to force it. I mean, if you're doing it naturally, it's just going to happen anyway. Now, one of the challenges is, I think we always want to know what day is going to come and what time and what hour, but a lot of times that's not a part of it. I know. I think you said something about one day we were talking about that. You said, I got my favorite car now. You remember saying something like that? So were you thinking about that car for a year or whatever?
So just to put it out, there's a Tesla. So I had the Model 3, which is the smallest, the entry-level car. And when I got it, I actually wanted the bigger sedan or the larger SUV. But the affordability wasn't there. It was just like it just didn't make sense when the fact that I was in transition. So I had that on the back burner. It was something that I just said one day. There were some changes that occurred in the market that brought that 4 years early, I guess you could say. It wasn't that I was started saying I wanted. It was then this thing just advanced in such a way that it was easy for me to transition into it. And, you know, it was a very good, solid business move and economical move as far as our household. So my husband said, if you want it, let's go get it. And
Right.
so he's always been one to just kind of make things happen. He knew that's something that was in my heart. And so his thing is you know, you men, your goal is to satisfy and to fulfill those things that we
Right.
want as women. And
Right.
so he, you know, he got a lot of kudos, brownie points, whatever you want to call it, because that just turned into something that I thought would be in 2030 that I got in 24 and ordered, color, specs, all the details of what I wanted in that vehicle are mine today.
But were those the colors that you wanted before? Had you
Yes,
already thought about
yes,
those colors? Okay.
yes. I always go for a black car, number one.
Okay.
Number two, I had a vision board. And so as I was selecting items for my vision board, these were 5-year items that I was putting on my vision board. It just so happened to be the inside of the car. When I actually got the car and put it in my garage, when it's now mine, I looked at my vision board and I said, that's the exact same, like the
Right.
setup, the steering wheel, the
Right.
color, all
Right.
of that. And so I changed the color of the car, the inside, at the last minute because I realized a black on black was going to be very hot. So I went with a tan color for the inside. And then when I looked at the vision board, that's the exact color that was on the inside. So maybe it was subliminal as far as that selection, but it was in my heart as far as that vehicle.
I don't think it was subliminal because I can give you a story of I wish I had my binder right here with me. It is, but I don't get up. It's sitting over there. But you know, in my binder, my flip binder, I put pictures in it, you know, different pictures I had grabbed from magazines and stuff. And it was of you know, cars, houses, living rooms, and all this kind of stuff. And in there was a foyer that I loved that foyer. And I just took a picture. I mean, I just grabbed it out of the magazine and put it in my binder. And that had been in there for like 2 years for me. I just flipping through it, flipping through. I always, you know, I would take it, flip through it every day just to look at it. And then I put the binder up and kind of wasn't flipping like usual. I guess I got busy, didn't stay focused. And so when we got ready to get a house, it's funny that the initial house was, I kind of bagged out the deal. So I kind of bagged out the deal. Somebody was really mad at me, but I kind of bagged out. And so about 5 months later, the builder called. He said, well, we got one other property. I mean, we got one other space at the end of the cul-de-sac. And yours would be sitting right there facing the whole community if you decide to do it. And, you know, at that time I said, let's go and do it. And so, and as he started building, you know, he gave my wife and her mother the ability to kind of custom design everything they wanted in there. Kind of, I mean, it was almost, I remember him telling me, hey man, you know, this ain't no $2 million house, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, he said, you know, what they put in here is, you know, like, so, but the long story short, when we walked in the door after it was finally built, the foyer, which I had never talked to her about, she had never even looked through my flip magazine, was just like one of the pictures in the magazine that I had in the binder. I went back, I went searching for that binder, I grabbed and flipped, I said, look at this. And it was there. So I don't know if that was, what's the word you used?
I remember
Whatever that word was. I don't know if that, I think it was something that was in like a hologram of your mind that you have been thinking about or seeing in your mind. So when it produces, that's what it says. It produces, it will come to fruition. That happens. So
Well, Tony, let me ask you this. Do you
mhm,
find that when you use your magazine or use your vision board setups, do you find that when the items that you put on there, although it might be a long-term goal, that you have a
mhm,
tendency to gain those items
faster.
sooner
Yeah.
than
Yep.
yeah.
Right. Right. That's what happens. Once you start locking in on it, things can happen a lot faster than you think.
And
And
that statement about where your focus goes, your energy
energy.
flows.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
Now, I wouldn't want anybody to think that they can just force it
No.
faster. I think it just happens when you are focusing on it, and I mean, you just know it's going to happen. Now, when it happens, but it has a tendency to happen faster. I've seen that for people who have that vision board, the vision wall. That you know, I got guys who keep stuff in the car. They always looking at it. We used to have it above the visor, so you drop down the visor, it'd be right there, and so you keep. That's your focus. That's where you, as Reverend Ike said, you fantasize. That's not fantasize. What's the word he used? Um, I just went blank. I just said that.
Is it
Not,
visualization?
no, he didn't say that. I just said it. Like this is a Biden moment for me right now. Uh, he said, "Whatever you are, God, it'll come back to me." Let me read one more so we can
Okay.
wrap this up. All right, what you decree, words. I mean, same thing, different words. What you decree and feel as true will come to pass. And we talked about this. Decree harmony, decree health, decree peace, decree abundance. Decree it, harmony, whatever. See, now my operative 3 words here is feel as true. Now, how do you get yourself to feel it as being true on this midday inspiration?
Because I don't focus on my feelings, I focus on my focus, right? So if I wake
Mm-hmm,
up not feeling well that morning, I won't go into my hip hurt, my back hurt. I'm going to say, this
mm-hmm,
is a great day to be alive, and I'm just happy to be here. And then you just focus on what you got to get done or
mm-hmm,
the course of the day. And then when you reflect on, I thought I kind of felt a little kink in my hip when I first woke up, but because I didn't make that my primary focus, I didn't feel it all day. So again, what you focus on, and as we're declaring healing, wholeness, wellness, those declarations or those decrees are really where your body, your mind shifts to well, because it can understand well. But if you start saying, I don't feel well, then
mm-hmm,
it's going to allow you to feel that. So
mm-hmm,
what you put in your head, the subconscious, as we talk about, it becomes that thing for you for that time period or for that day or whatever. So
mm-hmm,
consciously decreeing your well-being
mm-hmm,
makes the difference.
mm-hmm.
And the
You
Bible
know,
says you can decree a thing and it shall be established.
mm-hmm.
So
But
make
a lot of us will decree it, but we don't feel as it being true because we keep again looking into our environments right now and looking at our bank account right now. Bob Proctor I actually posted this on my page the other day where he talked about how people start decreeing and they start doing their affirmations. And the first thing they want to do is look in their checking account. He said that's the worst thing you should do. Is really what he's talking about is the process of doing it. He said, because when you look in your checking account and you don't see it there, all of a sudden fear takes over you. And now once the fear takes over you, you lose everything else that you have been talking about as for affirming everything that you've been doing, because you run into your checkbook to see if the money is there. You don't do that. You just keep doing the process of doing the decree. feeling that is true and keep doing it. And that's I think most people believe so much in not winning that they just believe that nothing else will help them win. That's that fixed mindset that we talk about. You got the fix and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset says, I don't care what book I read, I don't care what training I get, I don't care what environment I go in, I'm still gonna be me. I am who I am. Right. And that's not the case.
It isn't. It's a choice. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. And it's up to us to make that difference and make up in our mind that we're going to do something differently. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So this has been another episode of Midday Inspiration. I hope you got some inspiration from talking about visualizing and affirmations and decreeing and believing those things and do it, because man, I got a notebook full of these things, and every day I'll flip through the book and I might take a page or two. I might read all of them in here, but I got a whole section on being grateful. I'm grateful for everything I receive. I mean, I got different categories here. Like, I'm grateful for just being alive. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for all the people in my life. Just a lot of, affirmations I have in here. I'm creating unlimited wealth. I'm creating a life of wealth and abundance. And think about it, if I replace all my words with stuff like this, instead of, man, I'm broken. I don't want to go to work today, and I hate my boss, and it ain't gonna happen for me. And just if you just change those words and create new words and say these and say them enough that this comes out, instead of, there ain't nothing good happened to me.
I like that. Change your words, change your life.
Yeah, yeah. I like that too. When a farmer plants seeds, he doesn't dig up the seed to see if it's growing. He trusts the process.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point too. I saw an example of guy was talking about whatever seeds you plant and whatever you water, you got seeds of fear, you got seeds of success. Just keep watering the success. And the way you water that is through your thoughts, through your affirmations. Don't water fear. Right. Don't do that. Just water. Whatever seed you water is what's going to grow.
Absolutely.
The farmer is a good example of that. So
yeah.
All right. So thank you, Ms. Fredericks, for being my guest today. This won't be the last time for you. I'm just letting you know that now. So you did a great job today, ma'am. And
thanks for having me, sir. I appreciate the opportunity.
And some days when I can't make it, you will be hosting this Midday Inspiration. I'm just letting you know. I'm affirming that.
That might be on your vision board.
It's on my vision board. I am affirming that. I'm decreeing right now today that some days Miss Fredericks will be on here handling the Midday Inspiration, folks. So all I need now is a round of applause button, but we don't have that. We're going to have it next week, though. We're going to have a round of applause button, Miss Dyer, correct? We're going to have that. So, all right. So you see everything at the bottom of the screen there, the BYOB Movement Worldwide Wealth Lounge. Check that out. It's a lot of great information that's in there. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.